Hello, we're back. It's still February
15.
2015. On the last one I did, I said 1900. So, okay, but now we're interviewing Walter Joseph Flanley, who was born January 2nd,
1930.
1930, so that's easy to remember. So you were born, and thanks for doing this. We're at Point Pleasant, New Jersey, on Bel Air Court, right?
Bel Air Court West.
Bel Air Court West. Okay, now you know where we are. So we're going to talk about your life and interesting things, which is going to be very interesting because I know this for a fact because I've heard some of it. So you were born on Staten Island, right?
Yes.
And is this the house you were born in, or did you move to this house?
I think we moved in when I was 2. We lived in another part of Staten Island for a couple of years until my mom and dad bought this house
Do you want to show a picture of this?
in 1932.
This is really a nice, if you can tell from the picture, it's really a nice house. It's a brick house that had 4 bedrooms, you said?
Yeah.
A snitsy, pretty upper middle class, you'd say?
I don't know whether they had great.
Oh.
The Depression was just
Yeah, the Depression was going
So,
It cost $30,000, right?
back then.
so they say.
So they say. So, and you had a sister who was 2 years older? Or
2 years almost to the day, yeah.
2 years older. So you went to a PS school too, right? They were still public school number or something?
No,
No?
that's another story. We both started in Catholic school on Staten Island, St. Joseph's Hill Academy.
Is that where your mother was a teacher?
Now, my mother was teaching around the corner at PS 39, and when she took a transfer to go to another public school, which was only a mile away from where we lived, rather than 5 miles or 10 miles in bad weather, she took the transfer, and of course, it just worked out because I was ready to be expelled from St. Joseph's Hill Academy.
Now that sounds like a story. How old were you when you were about to be expelled? Jenny wants to be part of the action here.
And 4th grade, I guess that would be.
Now, why were you about to be expelled?
Because I had a little problem with one of the guys in the class, and I guess he was trying to get with my girlfriend, and I punched him in the face and knocked out his brand new front two teeth.
You had girlfriend fights in 4th grade. Oh my!
Now we know where Doug got it from.
You didn't have boyfriend. You
Girlfriends?
didn't have boyfriend fights.
I never.
With that,
So you were really, they really thought you might be expelled.
yeah, I got along very well with the nuns, and scholastically I was doing fine, but my mom probably had to move because the weather was too.
Right. So she moved closer and decided, I want to have
and-
my kids where
and
I'm
it was a
going
good
to
time
school.
to have me expelled. Yeah.
So you switched to the school your mom was at when you were in 4th grade.
Yeah.
And what grade did she teach?
6th grade. So 2 years later, I had my mom.
And so when
The whole year.
you moved over, Kit moved over.
No, together she was.
So she had your mom for.
Oh no, she was just beyond that
So you were the only one that had to have your mother for
Yeah.
6th grade.
because it was the 7th and 8th grade were a different situation. The 6th grade was before the change in classes and stuff.
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
it was
So
6th
you had
grade.
her the whole day.
Yeah,
So what was that like?
a lot of fights.
You mean between you and your mom?
No, between me and my classmates who were telling everybody my mom was deefer than a what have you, and so and so, and at which point I had to do battle with them.
There's a battle theme going here that I didn't know we'd uncover. But I get that whole defending your mother. That's very noble. So anyways, then did you have lice that year at school or something?
Like what?
Didn't you have lice during that year at school?
Oh, yeah.
Someone had lice?
Mary Briggs,
And then she sat beside you?
sat beside me, and I was always able to look at her grammar, reports that I copied. And
You fought with kids and you copied. This is really good.
but she, obviously my mother, without telling me, moved me to the back. So I no longer did I have Mary Briggs, the only black girl we had in our school practically.
Oh, that's too bad that she was the one that had lice.
Yeah, well.
Well, darn, I just remember that
Moves
story.
on.
Well, okay.
Moving on.
Now, we found some other pictures. Okay, so let's put these up. Children of Walter C. and Catherine B. Brady. There's, let's see, you and Aunt Kit. Wait a minute. There they are. And then there's another picture coming up of you guys.
And there's some on the backside as well.
At the beach. Check out this swimsuit. I'll show you in a minute. A one-piece bathing suit on. What did they call you as a child?
Buddy.
Buddy.
Why?
Because my father was Walter, and it was easier to call me Buddy.
So you didn't get to pick that nickname there.
There's a
No.
picture at 45 Westbury Ave, Staten
43.
Island.
Yeah.
43. Oh, yeah, 43. And then here's a picture. We're going to find out who these are in a minute. Okay, who are these people? Is that you with your parents?
Who's that?
This one.
No, that's his sister.
That's my sister.
Oh, there's Aunt Kit. I was gonna say your
The-
mom looks
kind of moved
youthful.
along.
And there's your there's your dad. That was Aunt Kit. And then we zoom ahead and pick. Okay, so wait, we're not up to this picture yet. So then you went to this middle school, and then did it go right into a high school on Staten Island?
Yes. The rest of the problem was that had my mother as a teacher there. She belonged to a certain little sorority of teachers, and if one of my teachers in 6th or 7th or 8th grade were part of her group, I did quite well. If they weren't, then it was a dogfight. Because
They went right on through high school.
right on through PS 40,
So PS 40 went to what
8th
grade?
grade.
To 8th grade. Okay.
So where was your dad working during all this time?
He was working for mostly the Board of Education, putting up schools throughout Staten Island and testing foundations. He had his own business.
Okay, was he an engineer?
Not graduate. I guess he started learning that from the mines because he grew up working in the mines when he was 13. And he, so drilling or dealing with, with the earth and that sort of thing was something he was used to.
So was he in construction when he was in the military?
No, he was in the Navy for 4 years, in the World War I, and did not see too much of land. He was working in, the Atlantic and all kinds of stuff.
So when did he get into construction then?
When did he get into it?
Right.
Oh, I guess before I was born. But then during the war, he sold his business, or got out of his business, and started taking jobs in the Far East and all over the world.
But he didn't start traveling when you were a child, or did he?
No,
Oh, okay.
most of his traveling started actually when after my sister went to college, and it was just about the same time I was going to college.
So I remember you telling me about from 8th grade. In 9th grade, you were a cheerleader. Some people really didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm not complaining, but I was entered high school at 5'2", 115 pounds, and the football team and the basketball team and the baseball team were well beyond my possibilities. So I ran freshman track, and when there was possibility to become a cheerleader, which now it made my children later on in life think that was pretty damn funny.
Oh, they heard about this.
Yeah, they heard about
News
it.
to
and,
me, but no one else.
but it was 2 years, basically freshman and sophomore year, at least half my sophomore year, dealing with the most beautiful girls in the whole school.
That was
Not
a
too bad.
hardship. So, now, it was a big summer between your sophomore and junior year. Is that when you went to the farm?
Yeah, I went to
Now, what
farm
made you go to that farm is what I don't remember.
because the track coach was in charge of this program, replacing workers in Vermont who had to go with the service, and the farmers needed a hand to do the manual work and stuff. And so I went up there under the guidance of our track coach, and also the possibility he might let me come out with the track team.
So,
Or
you
CrossFit
you
team.
went as a 5 foot, how tall were you when you
Oh,
You
I,
grew-
by the time I probably had 5'4", 5'5" before I went up there, but I came back. I was about 5'8", 5'9", and I was definitely 125, 130 pounds.
and you had been running all summer, taking the cows up and down
Yeah,
from the fields and drinking the cream off the top of the milk?
to gain weight. Yeah,
So you went back, and before you couldn't get on the track team because you were too thin, and he wouldn't take you on it. Cross country.
Yeah.
So then you ran, and you
In my junior year,
junior year you ran number 1.
yes.
Hey, that's cool. I think we have a picture right over there of his track picture we can show.
That was a Coast Guard picture.
Oh, that's you ran in the Coast Guard, the track.
Coast Guard Academy. Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward to your you're graduating from high school, and what made you decide to go in the Coast Guard? There's a track star photo.
I had an appointment to go to Annapolis, and I was held up by the politician, the congressman who was Staten Island, telling me that my time, although I had placed in a competition to go there, was held up, and it was probably a little problem on his politician side. So I had to wait till the following year. So I had taken the Coast Guard Academy test, and I decided I'm going to wait around for a whole year, and I went there.
So you went to the Coast Guard Academy for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then you didn't, during that time, here's some pictures I'll show of the U.S., you and your mom when you're about to go up, or it says New London, Connecticut, U.S. Coast Guard. And then there's a picture of you with the Eagle, and that you got to sail the Eagle ship across. Was that one of your favorite parts of the Coast Guard?
Yeah.
How long a trip was that?
It was 10 weeks, including stops in London, Antwerp, Lisbon, Casablanca, Canary Islands, and home.
Whoa. So then you went right from the Coast Guard to Wagner College?
Yes, because I was at home, and I could, for a very small, short amount of money, I can go to there, and I did for 6 months until I was going to be drafted into the Army to go to Korea, and decided that was not going to be a good trip.
So how'd you get out of that?
By enlisting in the Coast Guard as a petty officer.
Oh. Because you didn't have to do that because you didn't graduate from the academy.
No.
Got it. So to avoid being drafted, you went in the Coast Guard.
Well, not only just being drafted, to go on the front lines in Korea, and I didn't feel that was something that was going to be good for my health.
So how long were you in the Coast Guard then?
At that point, 3-year enlistment.
3 years. So that wasn't till, and that's where you were stationed in Honolulu?
Well, stationed initially on Staten Island in St. George, but we did weather patrol in the Northern Atlantic and all over the Atlantic Ocean, which was not a walk in the park. It was nasty weather. But a transfer came in for Honolulu, for the West Coast, and I was eligible for it. And I told the priest, the chief, that if he didn't let me go, I would probably kill him or something.
So then he got to go to Hawaii, right?
For a year and a half, yes.
Did you really bring women out to your watches when you were on guard? Did you take dates to your on guard? Did I make up that story?
No,
you didn't. I thought you had dates where you
The
just.
statute of
I
limitations.
did have a few dates while I was there, though.
No, yeah, but it wasn't while you were
On
on
duty.
duty guarding the
No,
beach
no.
or whatever. Okay, I totally heard me then. So then you went right from being enlisted to Wagner College.
Yes, to get back and finish my degree, I was separated in 1954 and started Wagner the following day to finish up my degree.
And so you were just telling us earlier today a story about how you had, before you quite finished, you went to a basketball game of Wagner College.
Of course, I was living at home, and as we finished up, and I saw that Wagner was playing St. John's in a huge basketball game. So of course I went there. I knew a lot of the kids from Wagner who had played in Curtis High School, and that was fine. And I went with a friend, and at halftime we went out to the lobby to stretch our legs, and lo and behold, I ran into 2 or 3 gals who I knew in high school, younger girls, and but they knew me and I knew them, and lo and behold, Elaine was one of their fraternity sorority sisters, and
A
she
basketball game, their first
were
sighting.
introduced.
So they were introduced, and then you went to Wagner that February.
A few days, about 3 or 4 weeks later.
In your first day of class, at your 8 o'clock class, lo and behold, there's Elaine
Mary's
Elaine
sitting
Chateau.
in the same room as Elaine. And I think, although we both obviously were, it was only a matter of 5 or 10 minutes at halftime, but we knew possibly each other, the fact that we had met and been introduced officially by the AD Pi.
And then you were a business major, and you were in a lot of Elaine's classes, right?
Yes.
So you didn't. How long did you date before you were engaged? Not very long. right?
Not very long, a couple of weeks.
Wait, a couple of weeks? You only dated a couple of weeks?
5 months.
5 months. There's a little less
Yeah.
fast. A couple of weeks. Whoa.
Because you were engaged a whole year.
Oh, and then you were engaged a year.
Yeah.
Wait, and then this was after you graduated, you were engaged? Or you were, no, while you were in college.
While we were in college.
And here's a picture.
Now, is this college or high school graduation?
That's college.
Okay.
Look at this handsome dude. Check this out.
Well,
What a dashing looker. Elaine, do you want to come over and share your remembrances?
No.
No?
we just spent, a lot of time together, and it was.
I do
know-
have one thing to say.
Yeah, what? Come sit down.
No, the first day he arrived at Wagner in February, he was wearing gray flannel pants, a red flannel shirt, and white bucks. Now, who wouldn't notice that?
Was that considered
Oh,
chic?
God, he was the man.
The man, you got the
I
man.
got the man.
Well, I think that's an overstatement, but I thought that's how you dress when you go to school, and of course,
Well, obviously it was a good thing.
obviously, I wasn't dressing with jeans, blue jeans, and that sort of thing.
So then you got married right out of college then.
It was a year later. We graduated together, and we're married a few days later. Beyond that,
Wait, talk a second. I'm gonna find a
Okay.
picture.
You were married. You were married in July 3rd, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Of
Graduated
1955.
we graduated on Memorial Day,
So
Well,
a month after
a
graduation.
month later, yeah.
Okay. And
just to keep it straight.
right. So you had an apartment
Oh,
in when you were first married.
Yes, we. I don't know how it all worked out, but we found an apartment out in Queens, and we moved into that, which was kind of funny anyway. We had a couple of little rooms in the back of a house
And what neighborhood was that?
in Floral Park, Queens.
And do you remember your landlord at all?
The landlady was
Mrs. Monteleone.
Mrs. Monteleone, and she was a person who had ideas that you had to adhere to, and one of us, which was how you hang your laundry out in the backyard, and it had to be in a certain fashion, that sort of thing.
So you were there for how long?
We were there for about a year.
Because I was born a year after you were married.
Yeah, it was about a year, but the problem was I was commuting a lot from out there all the way to New Jersey, for business, and one of the nights coming home pitch black, and right after in the fall, right after the time clock was now, and it was pitch black, and I got hit in the rear end out in front of LaGuardia Airport, and the car was demolished.
Was that before or after I was born?
That was before. And I decided that,
I'm saying after.
I don't know if it was Michael born, but,
No, Michael was born.
But
okay,
you-
but very,
But you decided you didn't want to do that commute anymore.
no, I decided this was not going to be
So
the way
you
it was going to
moved
be.
to Pearl River.
So we were desperate, and we found a little house for $16,000 in Pearl River, Rockland County.
So did the landlady like me, or was I keeping her up at night?
Landlady, I wasn't worried about.
Yeah.
Wasn't worried about you.
We
She
did
was.
everything to keep quiet.
She was worried about money.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
her big money, and she had we had a contract for a year, and we were about at this point we were a few months short, and I had a meeting with her, and I said, and they were
Nice,
paying.
but you're being filmed.
So I said, I mean, unless you want me to leave the heat on and the light on all day while we go to work, I think maybe you should let me out of this lease. And she did. So off to Rockland County we went.
And then from there you went from Pearl River down to Watchung.
Yeah, the Pearl River was fine, and it was certainly a good 7 years or so that we were there. We had a wonderful relationship with
Church friends.
church and friends and what have you. But now the business I was working for had moved over into New Jersey, and so we decided it might be a good idea to try to see if we can find a place down, 40 minutes below, which we did, in Watchung. And that again, we led a charmed life, what it boiled down to, and the Watchung situation worked out equally as well.
Did you like your job? Was that-
Not particularly.
No?
I had a problem with the bosses brought two sons into the business, and that kind of told me that I had to think about getting out of there before too long.
So you didn't stay working.
No, the trial of moving down there just only lasted a couple of years before I decided that I'd go on my own.
And that's when you were a manufacturer's representative for different
Yes.
companies. And did you like that?
Well, like is difficult.
You're not going to say
Working,
like.
no, it's working your tail off, and different situations which we don't want to get into, but either do too well and get fired, or too badly and get fired. It was a tough.
Wow, yeah. Did you have to travel a lot?
Yeah, over the whole area, general area down in Philadelphia and up to, through Long Island and all the traffic all the time.
And did you get home at nights, or did you have to stay
I
up?
get well, unless I was out in Pennsylvania someplace, most of the time, 90% of the time I was home at night.
So a lot of travel.
A lot of travel, a lot of angst.
So how'd you like being a parent of 3 kids?
I loved it, and I had a lot of fun with the boys. Started, playing little league and other things. I got home in time to get involved with them, and that was great. In the meantime, little Sue was coming along, and she didn't want to be left out. So I took a tennis racket and I cut half the arm off it so it could be short enough for her to hold, and brought her up to the tennis court and played tennis with her.
Wow. So that was her first. Did she play any organized sports besides tennis?
Well, yeah, she was a very, very good softball player,
I didn't know
and that was as an 8th grader.
They had to divide up the girls into 4 teams, right? Based upon the 4 girls who were good.
Yeah.
And she was one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fair thing.
Like Barbara
Harding.
Harding was one. And
But I was there when she
Elaine Gully.
I was there when she snagged a ball off her feet and with first and second and nobody out, and flung the ball to first base for a double play, and the girl at second base had wandered almost down to third, and Susan screaming at her to throw the ball to second, and the girl at first base had no idea why, but she did throw it down to second, and now it was a triple play, and Susan put her hand up in the air like challenge, and I said, this girl knows how to play.
She wanted to keep up to her 2 brothers, huh?
Yeah, I guess so, or I don't know, I think she would have been the same anyway.
So you were involved in a lot of the sports, and
Yeah.
Mike tells a time about how he was kind of miffed. Was it when Doug was born that you weren't getting enough attention? I don't know, but you were young, and you had a new car,